Hey folks, just a friendly reminder that all shows on the Madness Comic Network are produced by their individual hosts and in no way reflect the opinions of the network as a whole.
The future. The final frontier. It has never been so uncertain as now. AI, VR, haptic wear, nanotechnology, mass destruction with a remote click. Now we are finally seeing the true potential and dangers of an ever-connected and overly policed hyper-technological world. Have we finally become the architect of our own demise? Is there still hope? Welcome to the future. Welcome to Punk Droid.
Mr. Chris, what up? Also, Christgau from rock and roll band Five Finger Death Punch. Heard that you're about to launch your newest board game, Gods of Metal, where you take on the persona of different metal musicians to stop the overlords and their demons from taking over reality. I think I know a metal musician that can help you fight those overlords and those demons. That is me, Christgau. So, shout out to you, Chris. Shout out to all of the Laughing Rogue crew. And shout out to Gods of Metal. I will be in there taking over reality from the demons and the overlords. Christgau. Just like it says there on my hat, in case I forget. I do play bass.
An ancient darkness is breaking through into our reality. The overlords are coming. Their demons united, they'll stop at nothing to tear our world to shreds. And the only thing that can stop them is the power of metal. You have been chosen by the gods of metal to lead this crusade of finger-shredding fury. You must write the sick riffs, craft the awesome lyrics, find unholy rhythms, and set the heads banging. Show the overlords that their darkness is nothing compared to yours. Gods of Metal is a co-op deck-building game for 1 to 4 players. You and your bandmates must work to create the most powerful band in human history. Find mystical instruments of legend, outlandish costumes to improve your powers, and recruit mascots to help you battle the overlords. Find the power of pure decibels and use them to destroy your enemies by crafting songs that will literally blow their minds. Form a band. Save the world. Gods of Metal. Now on Kickstarter.
Hey, everybody, Dirk Manning here, the writer and creator of numerous comic books and graphic novels, including Nightmare World, Tales of Mystery, Brave But Not Dead, all kinds of stuff. And I am super excited for you because you are getting to watch right now right this moment, out of all the things the world could be doing, you're getting to enjoy and revel in the Madness Comic Network. And that is awesome. Thank you for being here.
I sent you the link. Good morning, folks. See if this thing's going out all right. I should probably monitor this from somewhere. Welcome to another Comic Artist Hour. As usual, I am running painfully late. Let's see. I'm sending out a couple messages because I have a couple different folks I'd like to have jump on here with me today. So let me do that. Reach over here and send these out. Let us see here now. All right. And oh. All right. Well, that ain't happening. All right. Well, I was going to have my friend and partner on some projects, Rich Davis, pop on, but because I wanted to have him on to talk with me and we could chat for a while about C2E2 coming up this weekend in Chicago, which I will be there. Rich will be there. See, my buddy Dirk Manning from Homestead, he will be there. And of course, it's C2E2, so God knows who all's going to be there. It's going to be everybody under the sun. I'll be there set up with the Comics Illustrated folks this week and this year at the show, signing copies of the issue of Comics Illustrated where I did the cover for it and was a featured artist in that book. So we've got man, it's crazy around here. Madness Network is true to its name. It is madness here in the shop because I have just been pounding out work right up to the last minute here before I had to stop to do the stream. And then I got to pack. I got a bunch of artwork I got to get finished for the show tomorrow or show Friday. And I leave 3 a.m. tonight to go on there by train. So that's going to be interesting. But anybody watching, if any of y'all are going to be at C2E2, come see me. We got all kinds of stuff going on. So all that said, let's get into today's show. Let me just do a little screen sharing here. There we go. Let's do that. And then we'll pop that up on here. Yeah, Pops said I rode a train from Flagstaff to Harrisburg and loved it. I'm really curious to see how it's going to go. I think it'll be fun. It'll be my first time on a train of all things, goofy as that is. Oh,
Now, I gotta warn you that train station in Chicago, that thing is huge, man. You get lost in there. I'm just saying.
I shouldn't say it's my first time on a train. I used to ride the train into Manhattan on a regular basis out of Brewster, New York, just across the line from Connecticut. And I've heard that the train station is kind of intimidating in Chicago, but I did some years popping out into Grand Central, so I think I'll be all right.
When I went through there, it was like right after 9/11. There were dogs and cops everywhere. It was crazy, man. It was like I had my son meet me because he lived up here in Michigan. I lived in Arizona at the time. I was going to Pennsylvania, so it's like I got a 4-hour layover if you want to roll up in the Chicago train station, hang out for a little bit. So he came down and we hung out, had lunch, and just like walked around, went up to the top of the Sears Tower, did dumb shit, you know.
Well,
But yeah,
doing
it's
some touristy things.
yeah. I mean, it's a big station. Though. I mean, if you've been in New York, you understand. It's like
Yeah.
look for the signs and follow the signs.
Yeah. And my usual partner in crime on here, Charles, who I think he is just swamped with stuff today. He lives in Chicago. He's going to be picking me up at the train station. So I've got
that. You don't have to Uber your way out of there or anything. That's all right.
Yeah, I'm not down for driving in Chicago. I've done it and I don't want to do it again. Nope. There are certain places that I have no desire to drive. Let's see, Mr. Bracey, did you make your own personal comic book template? I've seen that many seem to have slightly different sizes despite comics supposedly having a standard size. My template is loosely based on boards that I used to use. I used to use Blue Line Pro comic book boards. And they've got a handful of different templates that you can buy their boards in, but the boards are all 11 by 17. And all the stuff that I do for books is 11 by 17. And like this template you see here, I've got it set up to, I think it's, is that a 1/4 inch? I think I've got a 1/2 inch bleed, 1/4 inch bleed and a 1/2 inch trim, so that it's just so you know where your pages are going to get chopped off. So that's pretty much all that's for. And then the little dashed lines there give me a better idea of what my live image area is. So basically, you just want to avoid having stuff go too far outside of that, and those hard lines at the edge are the most important. So, oh my God, God forgive me, I'm gonna yawn. I'm gonna yawn hard. Yeah, the Blue Line Pro stuff is good, and I've anymore, it's like I've got a printer in the shop where I print my own. I take illustration boards and I print my own Blue Line pages there. And I've got weird ways that I work. I figure some people probably criticize me for it, but I do a lot of my pencils digital and some of my inks digital. So a lot of times I like to do my mechanical stuff digital, like if I'm doing vehicles or robots and stuff like that. But then I might, because I also do 3D modeling. I've been doing 3D modeling for a very long time, almost as long as I've been in comics, since the early 90s. Yeah, I think 1994 is when I first started 3D modeling. So a lot of times I will take objects that I know I'm going to have to repeat over and over and over that are mechanical, that lend themselves well to 3D, and I'll model the damn things. I'll model that stuff up, and then sometimes I'll use it as a reference, or sometimes I'll place it on my page because Clip Studio can bring in 3D models, and I'll bring in the model, place it on the page, and then use the tools in here to get really crisp mechanical, like hard lines and stuff that's just way faster for me to do that way. But then I'll go ahead and pencil everything else around it in non-photo blue in here, and then print that out on an illustration board. So I'll have my non-photo blue for my board template, and then I'll have like a mechanical piece that I've digitally inked will come out with real high quality black ink from the printer, but then there'll be all the non-photo blue stuff everywhere, and then I'll ink that traditional. So it's like I go back and forth. there have been times where I've started a page like that, got a bunch of stuff inked, then decided I'm going to scan it back in, go back over, do a bunch of stuff digital, print it back out, do a bunch of stuff traditional. And it's like, I do not care. Like, I know some people are real purists about it, but I'm not. I do not care. The end result is what matters to me the most. And I will do, I will throw every tool I can at it so that I can get my pages done and get my books done. Because, if your book doesn't get done, you've got nothing. So get the book done. Above all else, get your books done. So, oh man, let's see. What do we want to talk about today? Because I'm kind of winging it wild. Let's take a look over in the comments. Mr. Bracey is talking up storm over there. How you doing, Mr. Bracey? Let's see. See if he's got anything over there that I can answer that'll kind of play to the field a bit. Great mountains in play. He says, work. There we go. You get the models. I always use CSP, Clip Studio Paint. I work completely digitally for about 10 years. Work on an iPad Pro. Oh, yeah. Dude, so sitting right off to the side over here, if you see me looking over at something off to the side, that's because I've got chats and things up over on my iPad on an easel to my right. And I work in Clip Studio, and I love the way that the whole cloud feature works with that, because I can synchronize stuff back and forth between Clip Studio and my iPad. So hey, there's Charles.
All right, your dude's here. I'm out. Y'all have a good show.
Cool.
Thank you.
I was just talking a little bit about Clip Studio.
Oh, great.
Maybe that'd be a good thing to get into today. Mr. Bracey was talking about Clip Studio there, and I was just kind of mentioning, I was talking about a few things with it, about using the cloud feature with it so that I can work, I will work from my computer on the big tablet, on the big Cintiq, then, save what I'm doing and send it to the cloud, and then synchronize that over onto the iPad. So then I can take my iPad with me where I'm going and be able to work on my pages and stuff remotely. And then I also, like I was saying a minute ago, I will, you may see me out at a cafe or something with my iPad doodling and doing my thing, and I'll be sitting there penciling pages on that I'll bring home and print out in non-photo blue on illustration boards, ink it, may scan that back in, add something to it that is better to do digital, print it back out again, ink over that. It's just back and forth, and it allows me to merge with Clip Studio. I'm able to merge what I can do from the computer with what I can do in 3D, with what I can do with my iPad, with what I can do on paper and pen. So
it's pretty versatile.
That program is, I use that more than Photoshop for years now. I'm an inch away from abandoning Photoshop altogether, because Clip Studio is the bomb
in many ways.
And if what you're doing is comics, Clip Studio is the place to be. It has production proven tools all through it, and it is task specific. It is geared toward comics. So I really like that. Let me just kind of do a little overview of it here. I've got
a quick question. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, go ahead.
Isn't there the possibility that some of your code or influence may be involved with this program? And what would the history of that be, Mr. I touched everything.
I doubt there's any of my actual models in Clip Studio. The Clip Studio started out as a thing called Manga Studio. Pardon my pronunciation, y'all. But let's see. Hold on, I got stuff going off here. So it started out as where's that dinging come from? Wow. But yeah, it started out as Manga Studio.
On the Facebook messages, that's where the ding is coming from.
I see a Facebook message popped in there. It looks like some spammer or something. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, Clip Studio started out as Manga Studio. God, I think it first came out in 2005. I know by 2008 or 9, it was being published. No, I was earlier than that. I was way on back. There was I used to do contract work for a company called Curious Labs.
How curious!
And Curious Labs got bought by EGI Sys, which then got bought by somebody else, and then got bought by a Japanese company called eFrontier. And I used to do who is Chaos, and do I know you? Howdy. Hello, Chaos.
Oh, Les is massive. Bracey is pretty amazing. He's been talking about his stuff with CPS. Oh, Chicago Schools Public?
No, Clip Studio Paint.
No, I'm being goofy. So what's a Chaos? I thought that I was Chaos.
I'm trying to think who that might be. There's an old friend of mine, and that looks like
Chuck Adams.
Oh, Chuck Adams, different Chaos. Okay, yeah, I know Chuck Adams. He's been an acquaintance of mine online for quite a long time.
How come us Charleses tend to be Chaos, sir?
Yeah, I don't know. But what I was saying is, yeah, I used to do technical direction, and I was a contractor for a long time providing content for a program called Poser, which kind of kept me in the loop of comics for years because just there was a lot of folks in comics who used it for model references and things. And anyway, so I literally built like hundreds upon hundreds of characters for that software. And as a contractor to the various companies that owned it. Well, eventually it got bought by eFrontier, a Japanese firm that published a bunch of different softwares. And yeah, Chuck says that still use less models. They're awesome. And Mr. Bracey. Got a couple folks here who are old Poser users. That's great.
If there were two Mr. Braceys, then that'd be Braces.
So anyway, yeah, they were bought by eFrontier, and eFrontier then not long after they acquired Poser, and it's like every company that acquired it just kept me on as a contractor.
Wow.
And it just, yeah, every single one of them.
That's because you're famous.
No,
they know that you're good luck for them.
I think there came a point where I just had so damn much experience building like engineering original rigs and stuff for characters for that program that it just worked out. But they eFrontier started publishing, or they bought Manga Studio back in the day. I remember my first experience with it was actually as a contractor to them. I got pretty much any software that they published. I got it for free, and
without having to be like, mateys, I got
without any of that BS.
That's great.
But yeah,
unlike us in college, nudge.
I think it was probably at San Diego Comic Con 2005. I met the folks who made Manga Studio. They were there, and that was interesting. That's when I got really turned on to it. And then it was also kind of put on my radar by some folks that I was doing work with outside of my work for that company. Because since they had me come out to San Diego Comic Con,
right,
to do demonstrations that week of some of their software.
Wow.
And so it was there that I got introduced to then Manga Studio, and was also introduced by Brian Haberlin. I was introduced to Brian Haberlin, who then showed me a bunch of stuff he was doing with Clip Studio and with Poser and different things like that. And Brian was familiar with my work with Poser, with my models and stuff. And it was really, really wild how this stuff has all pulled me. Like, I was out of comics from about 1998 until about 2004.
The dark years.
And during those years, I was focused entirely on 3D modeling and animation.
Wow.
And that was great. You know, it was a good thing to do. And but as I built up that workload, built up doing that work and got deeper and deeper into engineering and doing stuff on Poser, that brought me back to comics. Chaos. I need to graduate to Genesis 8 or 9. I'm still using Gen 4 models and Poser 11. Poser 11's solid, dude. That's a solid build of that program. And fun fact, if you're using Poser, any version of Poser from 5 through 12, about half, anywhere from half to 2/3 of the models that you're using in that, I either built them or did the rigging or both. So that's many, many, many gigabytes worth of content.
That's why it's bigger than mine.
Many years of crazy 3D stuff. But yeah, saying I need to graduate to Genesis 8 or 9. I'm going to tell you, Genesis 9 in Dad's studio is badass, but I would in doing development for that stuff have not abandoned the Genesis 8 stuff yet. And it just has so much going for it. There's so much there. There's so much development that was done for it. And it's badass. I mean, Genesis 8 is badass. Genesis 9 there are some smart things they've done with it. And there are some broader 3D industry related things they've done with it that make it much more open to folks real or Maya, things like that. They've broadened that end of it. Personally, I think Genesis 9 is very much a move on their part to try to drill deeper into the higher end of 3D. But anyway, so I was doing the stuff with Poser and with the company with eFrontier. They bought it. They were great. I loved eFrontier. I will tell you straight up. The day that company sold Poser, I honestly think I cried a little bit because they were the best publisher of that software of anybody.
Yeah.
Bar none. Yeah, Mr. Bracey talking about Daz 3D. Well, along the way, Daz was a company that started out as a contributor to Poser and then became a competitor to Poser. And I also do contract work for them. So, for a few years there, I was actually contracting to both of those companies as they were doing basically competing software.
So basically, you were the cowboy in a Fallout with no nose.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, I was like, half pixels will travel. So, and I was getting contracted a lot by both. And it was mostly, they would say, hey, we've got this thing coming up and we need content of this theme. Can you do it? Yep, pay me. And I do it. So I it's like I've actually this past year has been the first year of my career since I was 24, I think 23, 24. Yeah, first year since I was like 23 or 24 where I'll say over 90% of my income this year has come from work in comics.
Wow.
And that's
and a
really wild considering what I went through 14 months ago with a damn stroke.
Ugh.
But
not to be confused with the backstroke.
So yeah, I've been with Clip Studio. That once eFrontier bought Manga Studio, they changed the name to Clip Studio, which I still don't understand. I really don't understand that name.
Well, it's kind of like, the Japanese name stuff interesting, like Picari Sweat or Cow Piss or Homely Cookies. So maybe it is like a Clip Studio.
No idea. I have no idea why they changed that. I thought Manga Studio was a good name. Maybe they were trying to brand it for broader than just manga, because the program was originally developed specifically for mangaka, which people who are working in Japan producing manga for their comics there. And then, if you ever get into how that world works, like I fit in really well with them because I'm kind of a production workhorse, whereas a lot of my fellow artists here in America kind of irritate me because it's like, oh, you mean I've got a deadline? You got a damn deadline. Get to work. So, but and I hear people lamenting sometimes. They're like, man, it's terrible being a mangaka. Look at how they're treated. They have to work so hard. They work so much. I'm like, dude, you've got a job and you're drawing.
Yeah.
Shut up. Just shut up. So anyway, I've been rambling on about that crap for a while now. And I think, Mr. Bracey says, I agree. Clip Studio paints a dumb name and poor branding. But
they should call it Less Time. Because you can start in less time, especially with the formulas. The thing which I love about the system of how you've done things, and a lot of other artists can do it, and this is more the production mentality, is when you develop formulas on how to get things done, it just moves so much faster. I mean, the fact that you can do 4, on rare occasion, if you don't noodle the background, 6 pages a day, how does he do that? Oh, he has formulas. By using these formulas, you become efficient. So by being efficient, you get 6 pages done in a day, 2 days, 4 days. So in 4 days, you do the equivalent of a month's worth of work.
Then you get books done, man.
Right. Then you could goof off the rest of the month. So then why complain? Or you could choose to do more books and then work hard 2 weeks and take off 2 weeks. I mean, talk about a great life.
That's the idea. That's what I try to do.
Right. And then eventually you could have like people under you. So you do the figures, somebody else does the background, somebody else does the lettering. And then eventually
I'll probably never do that.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But I know that or understand that some Japanese studios do it that way. Like
with the mangaka,
right?
They do that all the time.
Yeah, which is just so groovy.
They set things up and deal with it a lot like animation studios. So that's kind of an interesting thing.
So why is it that you can buy a license on your Mac or PC, but on your iPad you have to buy a annual license, and on your Galaxy device you get a 6 months trial, but you only get a 3 months trial with your Apple stuff. But if you have an Apple phone, you get a permanent trial. I mean,
no idea.
So weird.
Ask Apple. I do know that when it comes to software, a lot of times the place that's selling it has a lot to do with it. So like if you're buying Clip Studio and you're using it on an Apple device, well, you're probably you're going to have to buy it from the Apple Store.
Yeah,
and the Apple Store is going to have a big say over how it's sold.
Yeah.
So,
and where the chin is, you could draw like giant pinchers and you could make them into an ant or spider head.
Funny. Yeah, right now I'm just kind of doodling while we talk, so I don't have a screen full of white just sitting there.
Yeah.
But I will say, what I've done here, this is usually how I start out penciling something, is I'll do a new layer and I'll set it to gray, and then I'll click this little button up here that by default turns your layer to a non-repro blue. That's
amazing.
And it's really handy. I've always liked that about this. And then here what's funny for me about Clip Studios, most of the time in the program, like comparing it to Photoshop, most of my time in Photoshop is spent twiddling knobs and doing dumb crap. Most of my time in Clip Studio is spent actually drawing.
Oh, sounds like Photoshop is similar to dating.
Let's see. I have no idea who this character even is. I'm just kind of swinging wild on something and just seeing what comes out.
You should draw Kremen.
Okay. Let's see.
That almost looks like a annoyed Superman.
Actually, for a second, I was thinking of doing Nightwing.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
This could turn into a good little Nightwing real quick.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If you put a cap on him, then he could become a nightcap.
Oh Lord, where would we be without Charles's humor?
Yes, paging Dr. Garner.
And see, I'm working on that, working from the Cintiq, which one of my favorite things, and it's so silly. It's like the simplest things will make me very loyal to a particular product or something.
Really?
Yeah, simple things. Like how the Cintiq is a tablet where the pen with it, the back of the pen, you like here's the tip, there's the back, you just flip it over and the back is automatically an eraser.
Well, that's how it should be normally.
A lot of tablets out there don't work like that.
Yeah. How many other tablets have you tried out? I know that people have taught me, said, oh, get the Huon or get this, the XP pen, and they've been getting better and better from what I've researched. For example, Professor Doug Rice, he now has that, and when you're in town, he wants to talk to you about what type of images and things you need for a 3D'ing of Dynamo Joe, the giant robot from his series.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we can have that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've tried the Huions, and I'm not impressed.
Okay.
I tell people frequently,
Don't
save your money, don't go to Huion.
Okay.
Now, bang for your buck, the best thing out there is the XP Pen.
Okay.
Absolutely the best. The XP Pen Pro series. I mean, don't get the bottom of the line. I mean, they XP Pen is a Chinese company similar to Huion,
right?
And if you get the cheapest stuff from them, then you're getting the cheapest stuff from them. And it's probably going to break on you,
right? Oh, I had Professor get the best of the best.
I was going to say, but with the XP Pen, now you get the pro stuff. The pro stuff. This is something that I find in a lot of these Chinese manufacturers, these Chinese companies, is that they will, whatever is their quote unquote high end stuff will probably be excellent.
Yeah.
Whatever is their mid range or low end stuff, low end is total trash, and mid range is usually just a step up from total trash, and not by much. So if you're looking for anything on a budget, the smaller pieces, everything from Wacom is the best, period. Best you get. Wacom is the old player in this game with these things, and there's a reason why they dominate.
If there was a shop that sold Wacom that was built down the street, all you'd have to do is walk them down the street to get it.
You can't resist, can you? So
now, what is your thought of using the iPad as a drawing tablet?
It would never replace an actual dedicated tablet.
Okay.
I mean, it's good and it's useful. I've drawn entire comics on it.
On the iPad?
On the iPad, yeah.
Oh, impressive.
I've drawn entire comics on the iPad, but it's,
Yeah, Mr. Bracey's dad is crying because he says I took all of his jokes away.
But the iPad, I really enjoy the iPad when it comes to Clip Studio. First off, nothing works on the iPad as well as Clip Studio, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, interesting.
Not Procreate, not any of the desperate clones of Procreate that or Clip Studio that Adobe has tried. And I'm sorry, Adobe, y'all have dropped the ball. Your support for the iOS platform is laughable at best.
Oh, I have to agree.
And but Clip Studio, man, I can take my tools, I can take my brushes, I can take my settings, my templates, everything from Clip Studio straight over to my iPad, and it's like it blows my mind how fast it all works, how fast it all gets there, how fast the cloud system with it works. And then it's like, once I'm there, especially the way inking works, nothing can touch it as far as I'm concerned.
Well, from my understanding, I believe it's primarily vector. So with all that stuff being vector, mathematical problems, as compared to pixels where it has instruction put and light this pixel, this color. Oh, next pixel. Here's formula, light pixel. Next pixel. Here's formula, light pixel. And then again. Where vector, it's like, oh, here's a mathematical formula. Oh, here's another mathematical formula. Oh, here's another mathematical formula.
Well, see, with Clip Studio, they have this thing they developed, they call the ink engine.
Yeah.
That is, my understanding of it is that even though you can go back and forth between working in raster or vector, the ink engine basically treats your strokes as vector strokes and then drops the pixels.
Yeah.
So there's a crazy way that it all works. That I mean, I've never felt any kind of drawing digitally that felt as natural as Clip Studio does. Wow. And it translates over onto the iPad extremely well.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to learning this from you, and just with what you're doing, it's like volumes of knowledge.
The oh Lord, I see. I'm looking at the drawing now. I'm losing where I'm at in the conversation.
Oh, you can't chew gum and talk at the same time?
I actually spend most of my work days like very isolated, and I don't like to be bothered.
Which is the smart way of doing it. I'm the opposite. I usually have interruptions every 10 minutes. The opposite. Yeah, when I'm left alone.
My work days are very solitary.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting how when I taught a couple of times or give talks at conventions, I tell them that, you know, unless if you have a husband and wife team or something like that, you know, or a certain team, that usually being an artist is a very solitary and it can be a very lonely experience.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a fine artist, incredible work, and he's currently living in Japan, but he would call me up, you know, and say, are you doing a convention? I says, yeah, I got to get out of the studio. Can you bring me? Because, you know, I will pay your gas. I will pay this. I will cover everything for you. And I'm like, it's covered by the convention. Well, I don't care. So then I bring him out, and he'll start doing fine art commissions of people. And the only reason why he does it is for contact, to just see and interact with another person.
I can see that.
And it's usually about every 3 to 6 months when he gets really squirrely. Then he's just on the road with me, and then all of a sudden I'm done. I'm sick of people. And back to being in the studio.
Well, pardon me.
Oh my God, I've talked him to you.
I am about to have my fill of people this week because I leave out at 3:00 in the morning tonight.
Woo!
For Chicago.
Yes.
For C2E2. And I have a love-hate relationship with conventions.
Yes.
Because I actually enjoy most of the people that I get to be around and all that. And it's great because I get to go spend a few days amongst my peers and whatnot. So, you know, that social interaction thing is, you know, something that actually is kind of cool with that.
And needed.
But
oh no,
I have yet to set foot in a major metropolitan area that I did not immediately want to leave.
That's because like the werewolf game, you're like those other werewolves for like nature, and I'm a menace.
Yeah, werewolf. In vampire, hard gangrel, man.
Hey! Look at me. Look at my forehead. I'm 1/3 Klingon.
Dude, you're so weird. You're so odd. You know that, right?
Oh boy. But what's kind of funny is we actually do work well together.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of odd, and I'm kind of
odd in your. Oh yeah. It's kind of like a good comedian duo. You know, I'm more like the Abbott or Jerry Lewis. You're more like Costello or.
He says these things as though I watch comedy.
Yeah.
Like.
Les loves comedy.
Certain comedians I'll get into.
Oh yeah, he loves comedy so much he's willing to look at himself in the mirror every day.
Dick.
Yeah. Oh, last week was a lot of fun, by the way.
What was last week?
When you weren't here. I mean.
that was good. That was quite good.
No, we got to interview Jason Spriggs, who kind of had a very interesting a past, and apparently became friends with a major artist who worked on Iron Man for years. He like brought Iron Man back to fame. I forgot the guy's name. It's like
Bob Layton.
Yeah, I think that's it. Bob Layton or something.
Bob Layton's like the kind of the Iron Man guy as far as I'm concerned.
Right. And apparently Bob Layton got divorced, and this guy ended up marrying Bob Layton's former wife, and they're all still friends.
This guy ended up marrying Bob Layton. Is Bob aware of this? Like, damn, Bob.
Yeah, it was like, wow, what an interesting interview.
Yeah, I tabled next to Bob a couple times back in the mid '90s.
Oh, you brought him drinks and dinner?
No. Yeah, I think I was set up at some show in Boston, and
my sympathy.
Which, yeah, not a fan of,
I'm not.
That town.
Yeah, we're in agreement on that one. I got buddies there, and I just feel sorry for all of them.
Yeah, I mean, great place for some history and some things like that, and that's all fun and cool. But I was not impressed with it as a city.
When you're still considered the new neighbor, and you've been living there 30 years.
Oh, that sounds like home.
Oh, that sounds like that's probably an East Coast thing, because you're from Eastern Kentucky, so you're an East Coast guy.
Shit. Oh man. Yeah, I'm pretty happy being in places where I don't really have to interact with people unless I want to.
Yes. Oh, something kind of cool. And hi, Fatal J. Thanks for tuning in. When I was on the East Coast dealing with the former art director of Marvel Comics, apparently they were, introducing a new product and stuff. I got to play the role-playing game Cypher. And it was kind of interesting. You only have 3 stats. And I played a wizard character, and I just had fun challenging him. At the end of the game, he was like, he complimented my smartness. And today I'm running a D&D game.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'll show you something real quick right here that I really like that you can do with most of the different tools, the drawing tools in Clip Studio. This is kind of neat. There's a thing you can turn on called Sharp Angles. And if you're looking at a tool that doesn't have that available, then you open this guy right here up, and like all the little stuff inside of one of the tools you can hide or show from in here. So like if I go down to correction and I turn that off, you'll see it disappeared from out of here. If I turn it back on, it comes up. So there's all kinds of stuff you can turn on. Like let's do the post corrections, turn those on. Just turn all this stuff on, save it. So you can see, and I'll go through real quick and show you what some of this stuff does. But this Sharp Angles is really neat. What it does, like say if I do a stroke like that, you see it's got a little tight little curve right there. If I turn on Sharp Angles and do that, you'll see, like if I zoomed in real close to that, let's see, you'll see how it puts a sharp tip at the end of it.
Oh yeah.
And then if you scrub, like this is where you really see it. So if I turn off that Sharp Angles, okay, there, you can see it's just rounded.
Oh yeah.
Rounded there. If I turn on Sharp Angles, do the same thing. That everywhere, because this is a single stroke scrubbing back and forth, you see it creates those kind of feathered edges to it.
Yeah.
And there's lots of times where if I'm inking something digitally, say I want some feathering somewhere, I might just come in here and Do that. Whoa. Oh, no. We need to turn on sharp angles. Now when I do that, see how it will, when I'm making the stroke and I pull away, and it'll add that little tick sort of thing to it. It's very handy.
Now he looks like a werewolf.
And I will say the only reason anymore, well, probably maybe not the only reason, but the main reason that I ever still ink anything traditionally is so that I have original pages to sell. If it weren't for that, I would probably never touch a drop of ink again.
Wow.
Because
what about printing it out on art quality paper and then doing a couple of embellishes and then signing it so that that's a one-off giclée, and then you destroy the inked version, so that's the only one you have.
You can do that. I mean, that's kind of a thing. But I've got kind of a threshold I look at, and I'm like, when I think of what is fully an original page versus a giclée.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, I don't know. It's all kind of weird, and it's getting weirder because with digital tools that we have now, I don't know. There's just so much that you can do, and so much. It's kind of crazy, and I really don't like the way you get. Sometimes purists will hamstring you or try to hamstring you into. It's like, well, that's not real because of this, that, and the other. I'm like, dude, I did 3D shit for a long time. And, I've used 3D stuff in my comic book pages. I don't think there's a single book that I've worked on since the late 90s that I didn't use 3D stuff in it somewhere. And
I think it's smart.
I'm just like, but it's, some people are like, oh, that's cheating. I'm like, did the book look good? Do you have a book that you like?
And it was done quickly. Yeah, the bottom line is with art, the only real purpose of it is distraction, which you could say entertainment, but all entertainment is distraction. It's a passive distraction.
It's storytelling.
Right. Sports are active. If you play sports, are active distraction, because there's no purpose of the sports really. I mean, yeah, you get physical exercise, and that can help keep you in shape to a point. But it's amazing how with sometimes with art, how it is so disrespected but so sought after.
I see that.
It's like, oh, you did this real quickly, Les. Okay, yeah. Can you draw this for me and whatnot? Blah blah blah. Credit, and then you or I might say, well, for 150, yeah. Oh, why do you need to charge so much? I mean, you're just able to crank it out. Can you?
Well, that's the thing that I've said for a long time is, it's like you don't pay the artist. One, you don't pay the artist for the time it takes them to do the thing.
No,
you're paying them for having spent the time it took to learn how to do the thing.
Yeah.
That, and then I have said to clients many times through the years who have tried to, work out pricing with me on different things, trying to really get at me with pricing.
Yeah.
One thing or another, trying to get a low ball deal. I'm like, I'm fast. I'm very fast. And I'm not going to let somebody penalize me because I can do the job in a quarter of the time that the people that I usually work with would do it.
Right. Or in your case, you've gotten to where it's an eighth of a time. And
sometimes, yeah, just depending on what I'm doing.
I look at this with becoming efficient, very, very efficient with the formulas, is it gives you more free time to do what you want. And you have a certain amount of enjoyment of the comics. It may or may not be your first love. Music is your first love, for example. For me, it's animation, but animation is hell. So I'd rather just hire somebody else. Here you go. Here's the money. Do it. And if you figure out a way where you're fast and efficient, even better, because then, I can do more pieces, more art, more projects. And it's a lot of fun. And I think in your case, the one thing we both have in common, being genius level, is we're both fountains. Well, yeah, we're both fountains of IPs. I mean, it's like, achoo, hey, Les, look at this. Oh, that's a really neat IP. Hey, achoo, look at this, Charles. Oh, wow, look at these IPs. Yay. And the fun thing with our difference in personalities and resource managements and things like that is we're able to utilize it and make it more fun. For example, today I was late only because of being on other Zoom calls because I'm going through training. But last week Les had some responsibilities and he was unavailable. And I did the show semi-solo with the help of Brilliant Pops. And luckily I was able to get a guest. But, because of our inner working binary relationship when it comes to art and publishing, it works out very well for us. So we're not trapped by minor mistakes. That's enough of my pontification. Is he crying mascara again? What did you think of Rorschach in Watchmen?
Rorschach?
Yeah.
Rorschach.
I thought he was my most favorite character out of the entire thing.
Well, I always loved Rorschach. Rorschach has always been a character that I really, really related to a lot.
Wow. I like the characters that are the most human, and just through pure grit, they outdo all these people with powers. Like, you ever watch Heroes?
The TV show?
Yeah. It was really...
Yeah, but I don't really remember it that well.
Yeah, well, my favorite one was Claire's father, the company man, who was able to counteract nearly every superhero power, and he's just a normal guy, and he's able to just outthink them. And I just love that type of strategist. I could see you being like some war king, being like, all right, let's figure this out. This is how these people behave. We do this, and that. Oh, look, I won again. I'm Les the Conqueror.
That's funny.
Just give me 3,000 hectares of land, a fake road in the middle, a brothel that I could just walk by every day and just nod to the ladies.
You there, Nookie.
Just walk as if you were just born. Okay. Thank you, my lady. And you continue on to survey your land.
Yeah, see.
You import Japanese.
I can totally see you being the guy who's out there like, ladies, I require Nookie. They're just like straight up Captain Morgan stance, just like, there you go,
There you go. Artier.
Well,
guess what? We have another hour.
What's that?
We're at the high hour.
Cool. We're about to where we can call it, and I'm gonna sit here and kind of doodle for a couple more minutes, and then I'd say I will probably need to go ahead and hop off because I have got to finish preparing for Chicago.
Yep, and I have to go on live to a Zoom call.
I gotta go get ready for another trip into the bowels of Chirac.
Woo! Haha, Les.
Yeah,
well, I'm gonna log out.
And Les Pops, I logged out right before the show.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. He was like, I'm logging out. That's what she said.
Oh, I spent like a good chunk of the day yesterday dragging logs out of the woods for us to use to line the garden with. So that was fun. Well, folks, let's see. Let me take a look back through. I was actually looking away, and I'll see. Mr. Bracey, what is your opinion on AI cropping up in pro art or AI art in general? Well, okay. Because I am a commercial artist. I do this for a living. I've worked with digital art. I mean, a lot of the same crap people are saying about AI art is the same crap that they said about 3D stuff forever. But, it is what it is. Thank you, Fatal J. Just a quick doodle I was working out there while we're talking. On the subject of AI art, there are big flaws in actual AI art, like finished AI art images that, as far as I'm concerned, are what make it not a viable thing for real books. I also totally understand the sentiment about, you're just telling a computer what to do and it's just spitting it out. There is some reality to that. I do believe there is a place for AI in a working artist's toolkit. Let me get into that. I frequently run into cases where, let's say I get a script that has something about an ancient Sumerian temple. Okay? Go Google that. Try to find you some references of that. Go ahead. What you will find is going to be slim. But there's probably just enough information out there that an AI can cull together something that probably works really well for your reference. I use AI the way people use Google a lot. That is, I will say, show me the lower third of a samurai's cote as it would appear in 1405. Something like that. That's hyper specific. Now, I know that what it's going to give me is not a photo of that thing. But if I'm sitting there going through Google, going through Bing, going through different image searches over and over and over and over, and I'm culling together all these different references for myself, and then I'm approximating something like that, what I have found is that using AI to get a reference for something like that works just as well and is a whole lot faster, and it's basically doing the job of collating all those photos together for me. So, Mr. Brad Molchan, hey, just messaged me privately. Brad, hey, dude, I'm working on that sketch for you. I'm doing a sketch cover for the gentleman. So, hopefully, if you'll be at C2E2, man, maybe we'll get that to you there. But anyway, back on the AI thing. Yeah, like Mr. Bracey says, it really can save you a lot of time and headache in searching and all that kind of stuff. And I have no problem with the use of it for that sort of thing. I am a firm believer in using references for your drawing. I think people should draw from reference as much as they can. I mean, one of my absolute heroes is Neil Adams. And someone asked Neil Adams once, they saw, I think it was, they saw a photo. I can't remember exactly how the story goes, but someone had figured out that he had been tracing backgrounds for some of his scenes from photos using a light box. And they're like, Mr. Adams, isn't that cheating? And he's like, do you realize how many drawings I have to do a day? He's like, I got to get these damn things done. He's like, if you can find something like that, find a tool like that, like a light box with photos or whatever, he's like, use it. Get the work done. You know, that's doing the job. So I think that a lot of the discussion around AI, there's a purity that people apply to it, which I totally understand. And there's a practicality that I think needs to be applied to the conversation more about, okay, you're a working artist. How much are you getting paid per page? How many pages do you have to do a day to make ends meet? How hard are you having to work to get that work in? I mean, the people don't stop and think about the life of a working artist. And I believe that there is an entire method of using AI ethically as a working artist and still doing the work yourself with your own hands, but allowing AI sources to help you with primarily with reference, or you need lighting reference for something. You need, good Lord. That's probably the biggest thing is reference and lighting. You know, those things, being able to have that as an option for very quick references is really powerful. I mean, I use 3D for referencing all the time, you know, and I make no bones about it. So, I mean, if I've got a complicated image that I'm working on with, and I'll just show you guys one right here. Let's see. No, that's not it. Let's go to my page manager. It's like this. You know, it's some complicated lighting on this piece of artwork. And I set up a 3D model and I posed it to get a reference as if I were taking a photo of someone. And then I light that and do all that stuff to it so that I get the best reference that I can get, and then work from that. Now, I have no problem with that. I think that's an excellent use of 3D. You can do things like that with different aspects of AI. Can provide you with good references and things like that. And, you know, use them for that. Those tools are there. They're solid tools. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, trying to use AI to get a finished image is good luck. I mean, you're gonna get your ass handed to you by people when they figure it out, and they're gonna figure it out, because if you look at an AI image, it's not hard to figure out, you know. But you know, you can use AI stuff for good reference and all that. Oh, so I'm getting the cut it from Pops, which is fine by me because I got stuff I got to run and do. But anyway, thanks y'all for hanging out today, having a good conversation about stuff, looking at the Clip Studio. And with that said, see y'all at C2E2. Look for me with the Comics Illustrated folks. And till next week, I am out, y'all.
Flip City Magazine is just really pulling out all the stops, man. Your guys' production value of this magazine has gone insane. I mean, look at that. I mean, I remember when you guys, it was black and white. Even when it was black and white, I thought your quality was great. But damn, they just really stepping it up a notch. Look at this. James Corbett, boys. James Corbett.
Genuinely cutting, but also funny, and obviously just chaotic and very fun.
I love Flip City. It has brought new types of badassery and integrity to the print medium.
Glamorized and embraced by Hollywood, feared in the underworld, Benjamin Bugsy Siegel was one of the most powerful men in America. He was also one of the most hated. The man who gave birth to Las Vegas was gunned down in the luxurious home of his glamorous lover. Almost 80 years later, his murder remains unsolved. Who killed Bugsy?
How do you end this thing? How do you put the where's the brakes on this bus? I forgot.
Jazz hands. Jazz hands.